Hello, everybody. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 10 of Career Girl Chats. My name is Anna O, and I am the founder of Career Girl Lifestyle. Today, we are talking about self-love, healing, and reclaiming your power. Although our guest for tonight needs no introduction, because if you know her, you know. We will be speaking to the beautiful, the amazing, the talented Miss K.Marie. She is the co-founder of Brown Girl Talk. She is also a photographer and an entrepreneur. I'm so excited to speak with her, and I'm just going to get into this chat because I cannot wait, y'all. Hi!
Hi, beautiful.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight for Career Girl Chats.
Of course.
Look at you.
Thank you for the
All in
invitation.
your glory, looking beautiful in the yellow. Okay.
Come on. I feel like this is our most highly lovable color on us. You know, it represents royalty and it complements our melanin so well. So I thought, why not wear yellow for tonight?
I love it. You look beautiful, and I am excited to talk to you tonight. So, as you know, we're talking about self-love, healing, and reclaiming your power. Mm-hmm. So, Miss K.Marie, what does self-love mean to you?
Self-love means putting me first, being able to pour into me first before I pour into others, so that I'm able to better serve others. I'm able to better show up in spaces that I enter at my best self. So self-love is just making sure that I am good mentally, physically, spiritually. And sometimes it means just resting, right? It allows myself to get fueled back up into all the things that I need to carry me on my days.
Absolutely. And what made you want to become a self-love advocate, especially for women, for Black women?
Honestly, because I struggled with it for so long. I didn't know how to embrace that self-love, right? I could always pour into others or show empowerment for others, show up for them. But when it came to showing up for myself, I struggled with that a lot.
Yes.
And it took a healing journey and a spiritual journey to, falling back in love with myself, as I like to call it. And it's a daily choice, right? It's a daily choice to wake up and be in love with who you are in that moment, in that season, in that day. And so as it has helped me a lot, I just want to continue to inspire and encourage the women around me, especially Black women, because we go through a lot. And I always say it takes a village to raise and support a Black woman, and I truly believe that. And so in everything that I do, everything I have my hands on is to cater to Black women. So, of course, I'm going to inspire Black women to heal and love themselves as well as I'm on my journey. So that's why I decided.
Snap.
Yes.
I love it. So speaking about your journey and just, being a Black woman, I feel like self-love is a battle that, we have starting from a very young age. Because as Black girls growing up, we're told not to love ourselves, from how we look to how we act or how we should act. So what were some things that you had to unlearn on your journey to self-love?
That any shade you are perfectly made by God. Yeah. I was the first in my family that I grew up with. That's my complexion. Everyone else was light skin. My mom's light skin or fair skin. My grandmother's fair skin. Everyone. And so growing up, I used to, colorism is real. I'll say that. And I grew up kind of wishing that I looked like my mom's complexion. I have her features, but I didn't necessarily look like her. And so to me, it was I don't look like you. I'm dark. I'm darker, right? And so things like that. It was like owning up to you're beautiful the way you are. You know, you don't have to make any changes. You don't have to compare yourself to the next. You are beautiful just the way you are. And so it took a minute to get like that, to embrace that and to truly stand in it. But I got there, and now I'm like, girl, any shade. Sometimes I wish I was darker just so my melanin pops some more.
I love it.
Yeah.
Was there any specific event that was a turning point for you that made you really sit and reflect and say, you know, I have to love myself. I have to show up for myself better than I am.
Yeah. I think it was when I moved here to Charleston, honestly. I always say when I moved here, that's when my healing journey began. And I saw that I was kind of being, I don't want to say distant, but it was kind of hard to love. It was kind of hard to be around with my family and my friends because I was going through so much that I didn't know how to express it, two, how to give myself space to actually be in it and heal from it. But I realized like I was in a way hurting the ones that are closest and nearest to my heart, right? So I was like, I can't keep showing up like this. I have to do the internal work so that I can better love those around me and they can better love me too. They can learn how to love me too, because as I heal, hopefully I will help and encourage them to heal, or at least learn how to respect my boundaries and things like that, you know?
Yes, and we're going to get into boundaries. But what were some things that you did on your journey to kind of unlock that self-love that you have now?
Definitely affirmations. I recite positive affirmations to myself every single day. And I share them weekly on my platform, on my personal Instagram. Affirmation, therapy, spending time with God more, journaling, just learning how to like truly express myself, right? And embrace who I am in this season of my life. Because a lot of times we try to compare ourselves to who we were back then 3 years ago, or you know what I'm saying, and it's like you're not that same person anymore, and it's okay. You're going to constantly evolve, and as long as you understand that and put in the work to continuously love yourself through it all, it'll be okay.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about confidence. So I was able to listen to your episodes of Brown Girl Talk with your co-host Ashley. Love all of the episodes. As a matter of fact, the promotional snippet that I had with Bag Lady by Erica Badu, that was inspired by y'all first episode.
Yeah, no. That's a classic, sis. That's a classic.
Yeah. So you guys have an episode where you talk about imposter syndrome. And you mentioned that when you were like in high school or you were a young woman, like you had a lot of confidence. But once you became an entrepreneur, that confidence kind of was shot. So where are you now in your journey when it comes to confidence? And what were some of the things that you did to kind of reaffirm, you know, who you are as a woman and as an entrepreneur?
Well, to answer your first question, where I am now, it's definitely much further along where I was 2 years ago. I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but I'm getting there. And that's the thing that motivates me even more, is like I'm encouraging myself to, okay, you're not who you were 2 years ago. You're not where you were 2 years ago. Keep going and just continue to step in your purpose, and then, you know, all aligns. And you have, honestly, the confidence is rooted in God. So as long as I have God by my side and I go to him first with everything that I do, I do it afraid, I do it nervous, I do it broke, I do it, you know, with anxiety, whatever it is, I know that that would only boost my confidence even more. I'm sorry, what was your second question?
It's okay. I know it was a mouthful. What did you do to reaffirm like to yourself, your value just as a woman and as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. Honestly, just committing to saying yes. It wasn't really like I'm making these actions or decisions. It was just a fact of I made a year. So 2020 was my year to say yes, even though COVID kind of screwed things up for us.
Right.
but it was my year. Okay, say yes. So I kind of just rolled it into this year, right? And so I know when I take on things that I typically wouldn't, that I would kind of shy away from, or would choose to just be behind the scenes. I'm showing up now in those spaces. My face is, is what's showing up, and it just continues to give me more confidence to go above and beyond of what I would have never probably imagined me doing before. So, yeah, I think it's just committing to say yes and going for it.
And if I remember correctly, I think I saw you on a Super Bowl commercial. So I would say that your confidence should be very, very. How did that feel, by the way?
It is still so crazy. Like the other day, my husband texted me. He was like, "Babe, I'm at the store and your commercial is being played." And he's like, and I said, "That's my wife," and everybody's looking at me crazy, but I'm like, "No, that's my wife." It still doesn't seem real. I don't know. It's crazy because I still sometimes like I was the one chosen, like out of all. So it was to highlight business owners from South Carolina. And if you went to college, you received a life scholarship. So that's what it was around. And I was chosen amongst, you can only imagine how many people, but it just blew my mind. And then I did not know it was going to be released Super Bowl.
Oh, you didn't know it was going to be a Super Bowl commercial?
No, I had no idea.
Wow. Look at God.
Look at God, right? So I get just a buttload of text messages and DMs like, "Girl, you are on Super Bowl commercial." I'm like, what? It just blew my mind. So I heard they told me that it would be coming out possibly soon, and they was trying to get approval for, when to get it out. But I never heard anything back. So I'm just assuming, okay, it's still a waiting game, right? And it was like the biggest secret I had to keep. But when it came out and just the feedback and the love and support that I received from it, it was just, oh my gosh, it was everything. It was everything. Yeah.
I can only imagine. Oh my goodness. As an entrepreneur, are there any specific things that you do just to stay grounded? I know, just as a person, you do your affirmations, you set your boundaries, but are there any specific things you do as an entrepreneur just to kind of make sure that, you're keeping that momentum going?
Yeah. I'm always taking time to surround myself with other entrepreneurs, like-minded entrepreneurs. So that way, like you said, keeps the momentum going. It also helps. Like I have a group chat with people from different industries, different fields of work, but we're all entrepreneurs, and we motivate each other. We check up on each other. If we ever need something, like a service or something like that, if we're able to help each other, we're always on board. And also just doing exercises like yoga and meditation to clear my mind and give me clarity and focus on what I have coming, the projects that I have coming. If I'm like really unclear of the direction that I want to go in, or something is just unsettling, I like to sit and be still a lot so that it can come to me naturally. Yeah.
So in the social media era, it's very easy to feel like you're not doing enough, especially when you're looking at, other people's accomplishments. And you guys actually talked about that on Brown Girl Talk too. So how do you I don't know, can you talk a little bit about comparison and how it relates to self-love?
Yeah. Whew. And I'm not going to lie, it took me a minute to get there because like you said, it's so, especially on social media, it's so easy to get sucked into that comparison syndrome to where you're looking at what someone else is doing that you aspire to, to do or something like that. But my mom always told me, Do not look to your left and right. Keep your vision clear. You know what I mean? Keep looking ahead. Don't look to your left and look to your right, because you really never know what it is that they have or what they're going through. You know what I mean? Like, they may look like they have it all together. It may seem they have everything they need and everything that you want, right? But like they said, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So you just never know someone else's story. So I keep that as a reminder. If I even feel like I'm sinking back into that, I wish I could, was like so-and-so. I had this like so-and-so. I was, as successful as so-and-so, whatever. I just keep in my head, don't look to my left, don't look to my right. Just keep looking ahead. And, my journey will play out the way it's supposed to. I believe that what's meant for me is for me. And as long as I stay connected to God and to who I am, my true self, it's going to be.
I agree. And, as long as you have that faith in God, you know that your mission, your purpose was created specifically for you.
For you.
Like, there is something unique that you bring to this, space that God gave to you that He didn't give to anyone else. And I think, like, once you understand that and you really, like, dwell in that, like, wow, like, God created me with these skills and this personality and these desires because He wants me to execute a certain mission. Like, when you really sit and think about that, that's really mind-blowing.
It is. And it's very powerful. It's very powerful because He already knew what your life was going to be like before you were created. So He's already instilled everything that you need to do the work that He's given you, that He's planned out for you, right? So like you said, the vision is for you. I was talking with my friend on my last IG Live of levels of self-love, and she specifically said, like, you have the original copy of the vision that God gave you. And all you need to do is stick by the vision. You don't listen to naysayers or don't go looking for validation and things like that. He gave you the blueprint. He gave you the vision. So the vision is for only for you. And it's just up to you to keep going. Of course, there's going to be trials. Of course, there's going to be challenges. But you got to keep going. Stay looking ahead and don't look to your left or your right.
Absolutely. When it comes to the naysayers, right? You mentioned boundaries earlier. When it comes to the naysayers or just people who aren't necessarily like-minded, how do you create those boundaries so that way you could protect your energy?
That's a good question. Honestly, I either just don't absorb don't be around their energy much, to be honest with you, especially if you're in a very fragile time. You're in a very fragile season of maybe you're starting a new business, or maybe you're pivoting in your business, or maybe like rebranding or something like that, and everyone is not going to get your vision, and everyone's not going to know how to support your vision either. So I like to say, there's going to be naysayers, but there's also going to be people who just don't know how to support because they don't know how to see the vision. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, you might be starting a whole entire new business and want to cater to a specific group or specific market, and because it's never been done before, people will probably project their fears or their doubts onto you instead of you sticking to what you were given, because God gave you that vision, right? You stick into that vision, you can't listen to the people. So sometimes I keep my mouth shut.
Yes, absolutely.
So if I have like a goal, if I have something new that I'm working on, and I know that from the past I didn't really get the feedback or the support that I needed before, I'm not even going to waste my time and talk to them, because again, they might just not know how to support me with it, So you just got to protect your peace, protect your energy, protect your peace, and protect your space. So if you don't want naysayers around you, you ain't got to be around them at all.
Did you have to do that with any family members? How did that look like? Because, with friendships, I feel like it's still very difficult to set those boundaries, but it's not as difficult as it is with family, because when there are holidays, if Anna doesn't show up to Thanksgiving dinner, it's like, what's going on? So how did you establish those boundaries, those necessary boundaries with family?
Yeah. Honestly, I would just, like I said, I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't bring it up. If if it did come up, like if questions came up where you can tell it's like questions trying to figure out if you really know what you're doing or if you sure you want to go this route or something like that, I would just kind of navigate to a completely different discussion. Like,
Yeah.
just avoid it in general, because at the end of the day, I know that nothing that they say is going to change my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's difficult because, of course, you want your family to, be all on a board with you and support you and see the vision with you, but sometimes they just don't. And
Yeah.
I've learned to not take it personal.
Yes.
That's the
That's
one thing that you
important. Yeah.
have to realize. Yeah, you cannot take things personal, because again, they may not know how to support you because they just never seen it before. You know what I mean? And they just doubt that it can happen. You got to be the one to show them that. You got to be the one to show up and show that, yeah, this can be done. You know what I mean? So for me, here in South Carolina, it was never heard to be a photographer for women of color, for Black women. And so I wanted to create that space to do so. And yeah, I got a lot of backlash from that. Like, I got family, friends. They were like, you don't want to exclude, other demographics or other, people. Money is money, all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I don't. However, I want to create a safe space for Black women to know that every time they come to me, the photographer, that they're going to have beautiful images of them that truly portray their authentic self, their glowing melanin in all of its glory. Because a lot of times, we come out looking too light or too dark, or, we're just not seen or portrayed how we're supposed to be seen. And so I wanted to create that space. And when I decided that, there was a lot of people that was just not really on board with that. It was like, because they're scared for me. They want me to succeed, and they felt like I was limiting myself for that instead of creating a new space, and just being a service to Black women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, I see some hearts. Yay.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to everyone that's watching.
Yeah.
So when we see self-love depicted, especially on social media, we see the spa days, the bubble baths, just kind of lounging around the house, and those things are great, right? We all need rest and recovery time. But what is self-love really? Because I think everyone has a different definition of it. What does self-love really look like? I saw a meme, and it was like what people think healing looks like versus what it really looks like. What it really
is, yeah.
And then it was like the really looks like was like this girl, like she was like crying. So can you talk about the uncomfortable stages to get to that self-love?
Honestly, for me, it was through therapy. That was my self-love, because I knew there was things I had to break down before I could truly see me, who I am as a person, and where I can be, right? So yeah, like you said, the spa days is cool, the candles and that's cool, but if you aren't willing to do the internal work, it's going to take you a while to truly heal, to truly have that self-love, because you keep going around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that self-love is a healing journey. So in a healing journey, you have to forgive yourself. You have to face your mistakes, right? Because a lot of times we like to pack it away and act like it didn't happen or move on. And to go back to the confidence thing, that's where I had lost a lot of confidence because of all my failures that I had when I first started in the entrepreneurial space, right? But I had to give myself a talk, like a real, like, not like hard love, but tough love, but like, it's okay. You're supposed to make these mistakes early on. Right. So that when you get to where you dreamed of being, you won't make those same mistakes. You'll have more, But it's okay to make the mistakes because you're going to learn from them and they don't define you. They just build you up and redirect you to the path that you're supposed to be on. So I think that it's a lot of self-love is just doing your internal work, checking in with yourself, giving yourself time to rest, but also giving yourself time to feel. If you're sad, feel sad. If you're mad, feel mad. You don't have to stay in it, but we have to feel, because there's this misconception we've been taught that we're just supposed to keep it moving. Yeah, that hurt, but keep it moving.
Especially as Black women.
Especially as Black women. It's so hard on us. So I always say, feel how you want to feel, because it's valid. Those feelings are valid, but don't allow yourself to stay stuck in it, because that's how we grow. That's how we evolve. You know what I mean? So we go through all of our challenges, all of our hurts, heartbreaks, mistakes, failures for a reason.
Yeah,
it's only to continue to build us up to where we're supposed to be, where God already sees us going.
Yes, amen. What does self-love for K.Marie look like in her marriage?
Ooh.
Because, a lot of people, when it comes to self-love, it's like we think we love ourselves, and then we get into these relationships, and then things don't go the way we want them to, and now we're back to square one. So what does self-love look like for you with your husband,
Realizing that I'm still an individual. And yes, I have a partner. Yes, I have a life partner, but it's still important to give K.Marie time, give K.Marie space to just be who I am before anything else, before a wife, before, maybe a mother in the future, or before anything else, even before being an entrepreneur, a businesswoman. I need to be me before anything. So, giving myself self-love, even within a marriage, is still allowing us to have space and time where, we get our me time, right? And the me time may not be just to, do the baths and the candles and the spa or whatever. It may just be sit in silence. I love sitting in silence. It just does something to me. It just does so. It's like, it's just refreshing, because throughout your day, you're always, like we said earlier, our phones are best friends. We'll always have the phone to our head, or, news, things that are going on. You're not able to sit in silence and just be with your thoughts. So I love doing that. Yeah.
What did you have to let go of in your journey? Like, were there certain habits that you had or things that you did? Because sometimes in the healing process, we don't realize that we pick up very toxic ways of coping. So was there anything that you had to let go of, whether it's people, places, things?
Yeah. It has been people along the way. It's been habits as well. I'm still still learning how to do this, but a lot of times I would allow someone else's mood to affect mine. So if their energy was off, my energy got off, right? And then I'll end up wondering, like, how did I get here? Like, I was fine, an hour ago, whatever. So, but I feel like when you're in tune with your body, and when you take on a lot of other people's energy and things, it's easy to just fall into that. You know what I mean? So if someone came, if one of my friends or something came with a bad day, like, I wasn't upset. Like, it happened to me, So I had to let that go.
Right.
I can be compassionate, but I don't have to take on that energy. I don't have to take on that problem or that issue. So it was drawing a boundary there to where it's like, okay, I can be there for my friends, I can be compassionate, or family, right? Or my husband, I can be there for them, listen to them, but I can't take on what the issue is to make it mine, because that's going to drain me.
As an entrepreneur, I should have asked this earlier, how do you protect your peace? because I'm pretty sure your inboxes, you know, your DMs, your emails, they're filled with a lot of people, especially after that Super Bowl commercial, right? There are people reaching out to you, trying to collaborate with you. Like, what is your mental process like when you decide, okay, this is someone I want to work with or not?
Honestly, you know, that's a good question. Because now I have more steps involved to book with me, right? Or, you know, I've invested in an assistant so that she can do like that legwork of figuring out what their brand is or who they are if we're going to align. Because in the past, I have worked with people that we just didn't align. We shouldn't have, you know, worked together. Not saying, you know, I was in it for the money, you know, but, you know, bills had to be paid. But, but at this point, like you said, it's about protecting my peace. So if I can see that we're just not a good fit for each other, I'm going to, you know, kindly redirect them to someone who I think could better help them because we're just not a good fit. So at this point, it's like all money is not good money for me.
Absolutely.
Say you know, I have to, all money is not good money. You can learn how to say no. That's a part of self-care. Learning to say no, right? Because just because you're available, just because you can do it, just because you know how to do it, doesn't mean you should. So learning how to say no when it's necessary, that's protecting my peace. And also not jam-packing my schedule like I used to.
I think that was your Monday affirmation for this week, right?
Yes.
Oh my! Can you talk a bit about that? Because this is a page. Career Girl Lifestyle is a page for career women, and you know we're oftentimes, especially like now in this era of female entrepreneurship, everything is about being this boss woman, but we don't really talk about like that burnout. That comes from it.
And that burnout is real.
Yes,
that burnout is real. I think that's when I experienced most of my anxiety, is when I would allow myself to get to that point of burning out, right? Like feeling like, yeah, I'm this boss woman. I gotta get this done. I gotta be busy. I gotta look busy all the time. You know, to think I'm successful or to think, you know, that I'm where I need to be or whatever it is. But honestly, rest is essential. You know, and there's this, I don't know where we got this from of, you know, we'll sleep when we die or we'll rest when we have this amount of money in the bank and all. Those are lies, okay? All lies. Get your rest in now, because how can you show up as your best self if you're exhausted mentally, physically, spiritually, all of that? You can't create at your best. You can't show up and help others when you need, you know, to help others at your best. It's impossible. So, yeah, I've just been instilling into myself and reminding myself that it's not a privilege. I'm supposed to rest. I'm supposed to rest every single week. I'll take, you know, if I have a busy weekend, because, you know, for photographers, we work on the weekends or whatever. And so if I have a busy weekend, that Monday, oh, baby, I'm not doing anything at all.
I feel you.
Nothing at all. So, you know, allowing yourself to rest and recharge is so important.
And I think sometimes we put that pressure on ourselves too. Like you said, you know, to look busy so we can feel busy. But we don't really understand, like, that rest and recovery period is going to help us come back even stronger the next day. Because I've literally like been up in bed like 3:00 in the morning, like trying to edit, and I'll wake up, watch the video, and it has so many mistakes in it. You know, so I told myself, like, listen, when I'm tired, I'm going to listen to my body. I don't think we do that enough. Like, we don't listen to our bodies when we're hungry, when we're dehydrated, when we're tired, when we're anxious. Like, we need to start listening to our bodies more.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're most definitely right. Like you said, when you're tired, I used to have the same, like, I used to look back on emails that I should not have been answering at that time of night. I'm supposed to be asleep or in the bed or just chilling. You know what I mean? Like have a cutoff time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound like I did not get a degree. I'm just like, you know, like, what was I thinking? But yeah, it's just setting those boundaries. Like even if you're up, you don't have to answer that text or that email or that call. First of all, if it's business, they shouldn't be texting you. I had to learn that. Whew, I gave out my number too freely before. Like if we don't have a relationship prior to the business, if it's just been like email communication, let it be that. Don't text me because I didn't respond to your email yet. You know what I'm saying? Give me the next business day because I might be laid up, you know, chilling or watching TV with my man or so. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have access to me 24/7. You just don't. You don't. And I feel like when you create that boundary, when you set the standards, and it's okay to let people know, like, hey, this is the best way to communicate with me. Right. So that way going forward, they know the email. And if they do slide into your text message, you ain't got to text back because you've already told them this is the best way to communicate with me. So I'll respond with an email.
Absolutely. You teach people how to treat you in the personal space and in the business space. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And even with the number situation, like I say you need 2 separate numbers because you know, why are you texting my personal number? You
that's
know,
real.
For business
That's
reasons.
real. Get one of those Google numbers, Google Voice numbers or something. Yeah, that's totally real. Yeah, you gotta separate. You gotta separate it because you will get so just sunken into work where you forget this is you got personal time and you got business time. Just like a regular 9 to 5. Like when you clock out, you clock out. You know what I mean? And you handle whatever it is the next day. So I have to remind myself I got to do the same thing. You know, when I'm done for the day, I am done for the day. That email, that call, whatever it is, can wait till the next business day.
Yes. You just brought up a very important point because we are often talking about boundaries that we put in place with other people, but we have to remember to respect our own boundaries. As well. Absolutely. Right? Like you just said, you know, if we're not working right now, we're not working right now. You know, if we're not answering emails, we're not answering emails. So I think that's very important too. We have to have boundaries in place with ourselves because it will lead to that burnout or, you know, feeling the need to respond to everybody at whatever time of the day or night.
Absolutely. And I say if it's hard to do, start by putting your phone on do not disturb. So that way you don't see it. You know what I mean? You don't constantly see the notifications or the pings or whatever. Put your phone on do not disturb at a certain point at night or, you know, whatever it is. But get into the practice of setting business hours for yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And when you're done, that's it. That's it. Yeah.
Or if you're like me, sometimes I have to put my phone in a whole other room.
That part too.
I have to put it in a whole other room. I can't even have it near me sometimes because it's like, you know, if I'm laying in bed and I don't go to sleep right away, I'm like, you know, maybe I could just scroll, but as we all know, scrolling for 10 minutes turns into 1 hour, turns into you're up at 3 a.m.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And you wake up exhausted, and it's your own fault.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I have learned the hard way. I have. So let's talk about reclaiming your power. Well, before we talk about reclaiming your power, I think it's important to discuss what it means to give your power away in the first place. So can you just talk to that? Like, what is our power?
Yeah. I believe that our power is pretty much everything that we've talked about. Our self-care, our self-love, our boundaries, right? Knowing what to take on, knowing what to say no to, and being okay with that, not feeling guilt or shame for it. And make the commitment to continue to be your own person. You know, and don't have a comparison. Don't look to your left and your right. You know, you are who you are. God gave you your gifts, your vision, and your power, right? And so I feel like when you allow other people to take that power, Is doing things that you just don't want to do. Like I told, if it's like helping set up decorations or something like that, or move into a house or whatever it is, and you're like, I really don't want to do this, but you said yes, you committed to that. You gave,
Yes.
you gave them your power, because instead of resting, instead of what was more important to you, you're giving it to them, right? Or taking on business things, or ideas or whatever it is, whatever does not align with you, say no. That's reclaiming your power.
Yes, absolutely. I have a Monday mantra for you. Based
Okay.
off of that, no, set your boundaries and stick to them yourself.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because pretty much everything that you just said is just, not sticking to your boundaries. That's giving away your power. Or just not having boundaries in the first place.
That part. Yeah. And honestly, I feel like that's how some people kind of fall apart or don't see eye to eye, or that's when jealousy and envy can come into play, is because you set your boundaries, right? But they know nothing about boundaries. They know nothing about boundaries. When someone picks up and calls and they go running. Sometimes you don't want to bring something up or talk about a specific topic. And if you continue to allow other people to do that, and just, dive into the conversation or give into the conversation, it's boundaries. They've crossed the boundaries. So you need to learn how to create the boundaries first and stick to them.
Absolutely. Amen. So I have one last question for you. What is next for Miss K.Marie, and what can we expect to hear from Brown Girl Talk in the upcoming episode?
So what's next for me is, honestly, I have been growing and expanding with Essentials, which is what you see behind me.
Yes, your beautiful setup.
Thank you. I own a luxury aromatherapy brand. And so we have candles, which is made with all natural soy wax and essential oils and wooden wick, so you can hear that soothing crackling sound in the evenings. We also have mist bottles, and we're coming out with a few different things. So that's what's next for me. I'm just really diving into it and giving a lot of energy and passion into Essentials to grow that and expand even more. So that's that. And what you will hear from Brown Girl Talk. What's funny? We have Ashley and I are meeting this weekend to kind of go over more topics that we've been requested to talk about and dive into. The imposter syndrome got a lot of feedback, so we might have to do like a part 2 on that one. But anything that involves healing and growing and loving yourself as Black women, because that's who we are. So we can't speak on anything else. You know what I mean? Like, we welcome everyone to listen, of course, but we can only speak of what we experience, what we go through as Black women. So just healing and loving and growing.
Any final words, any final thoughts just about self-love, healing, reclaiming your power? Any advice you want to give to the women watching?
Yeah, my advice would be just to make a daily choice, a daily decision to be you, to fall in love with yourself over and over and over again, no matter how many times it takes, because you have to pour into yourself before you can pour into others. You have to love yourself before you can truly love others and allow others to love you. So just make that daily decision.
I love that. That was so beautiful.
Thank
you. Marie, thank you so much for your time. You are so amazing. I love your aura, your spirit. You're such a beautiful person inside and out. And I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to share this space with you.
Yes.
I hope we continue to stay connected, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you, my queen. And thank you again for inviting me. This was so much fun. I truly enjoyed chatting with you.
Bye.
Bye.